gentlemen, you're now tuning into the very best. It's yours truly, Jazzy Fizzle, Fizzle, Fizzle. And this is Instinct Radio, man. Tune in, baby. Oh, boy.
Instinct Radio, it feels good to be here. It's your boy Shout L.O., K.O.P. Right now, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. Instinct Radio. You ain't here, you ain't nowhere. So let's get it. Say what's said, and this your boy Shout L.O. Right now, you're on Instinct Radio. Let's get it. Shout it.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Download the app on Google Play, Instinct Radio, or go to instinctradio.net. And now, back to the hottest sounds around. Instinct Radio.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. It's January 29, 2018. This is your boy Kevin Thornton, the Wellness Architect, and you have tuned in to the Wellness Architect Show. Tonight's show is going to be very, very educational. You know, as we enter 2018, I know everybody's goal is to lose weight and be healthier. So I got a raw food expert in today to really help out and help you with about raw food, nutrition, just become the healthiest version of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. It's going to help. She's going to help prove my point of why I feel so enthused about doing detoxes. Mm-hmm. Currently, I do a 7, 14, and 30-day detoxes. My detoxes are raw foods with herbs and spices, all that kind of stuff. So it's a real reason why I do it like that, and she's going to confirm that reason. For those who've been following me, I do have a client who just texted me today. She's in the middle of her 14-day detox, and she went to the doctor this morning, and she texted me this morning and told me her blood pressure was 127/71, which is the lowest she ever had ever. So she was very excited about that, and so that encouraged her to keep on going on with the whole detox, because now she see the method behind the madness. Yes. So if you know who's still interested in doing the detox, you can just inbox me on Facebook at Kevin Thornton or the Wellness Architect, or inbox me on Instagram at the Wellness Architect. So without any further ado, first of all, if you won't have any comments or questions, please call in, make this very interactive. Any comments or questions, call in at 478-569-6474. Once again, 478-569-6474. So without further ado, I have raw food expert, educator, Miss Carla. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So you said you'll let me do my own little
ma'am.
bio. So
yes, ma'am.
I'm Carla DeRosa, and I'm originally from Detroit, and we found out that we have that in common. And so I live in Atlanta, so I'm Atlanta-based, and my title is Wellness Rockstar.
All right.
So I'm a raw food instructor, and also I help people transition into a plant-based lifestyle. Okay. Sometimes kicking and screaming.
Right.
But my intent is to make it fun.
Right.
A lot of times people think raw food is all just about medicinal, that it's boring, that it's not good, that I'm going to be hungry. And so I bust all those myths.
Okay.
By making it taste good, be fun, be sexy, and filling.
Okay.
And so I've walked with a lot of people on their raw food journey, on their health journey. I worked at a health center for years where I walked people on cancer journeys, people getting their diabetes, their sugar numbers together, blood pressure, as you say with your client.
Right.
These are lifestyle things that kind of snap back within, like you said, 10 days sometimes.
Right.
And so, and that's how I got on the journey, because I had abused my body with food. So one of the reasons why I'm really a good instructor and a good coach in health and wellness, because I have abused food.
Exactly.
So, and I have been addicted to foods, junk foods and processed foods. And so I walk that journey with my students, with my clients, with people who are in my tribe, because I definitely can relate.
Right.
And so that transitioning to taste and having the biometrics or volumetrics, feeling full, all that stuff, I definitely can relate.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you get people who, like lifetime vegans, they don't know the pain,
Right.
right? From transitioning.
Exactly.
I mean, bless them, and I'm glad for
Yes.
them. But, you know, I came from Detroit. I was raised on soul food.
Yes.
So my sole intention is to bring that soul into raw food and vegan food.
I love that. I love
Yes.
that. So I'm gonna go straight to Jack because Jack has been doing this transition.
Wait, what happened?
Like I was telling you before we started the show, when I first started doing the show here on Instinct, in the beginning, I always talked about the detox and all this kind of stuff. And Jack had said, Kevin, I want you to show me the detox. And I thought he was joking. You know, I ain't paying him no attention. Now he's like blew it off or whatever. And then he kept on saying, I need you for real. I need you for real to help me do this. And so, and so
I figured I would have to step on this side.
Exactly.
This is
So-
a topic I'm really interested
and
in.
so he finally did it. And he took a picture. He did a detox, and he took a picture from him doing his blood pressure. And in a period of 2 weeks, his blood pressure went from sky high to normal. And so then it made him really realize the importance of it. And of course, it was like
Yes.
raw vegan. And so now I hear this message. He's saying, okay, Kev, I'm going to go vegan. But right now he's vegetarian. So now he's trying to transition to it. So you probably have some questions for her.
Well, right. I ain't gonna have too many, I guess. I'm just mostly trying to listen. But to make it brief, last year I was struggling with problem with my blood pressure.
Right.
So of course I'm trying everything, going back and forth, seeing what's working, seeing what it's not. And I did a detox from Arden's Garden. And when I did that detox, them 3 to 5 days later, my blood pressure was good. But I also went super hard in the gym. I did a lot, and my
Right.
blood pressure was great for a while. And I kind of slipped off on everything, and it kind of started slipping. And I started doing some research on the different stuff. I'm like, it can't be just about working, because I worked out for 30 days straight, like straight, like ain't no breaks, ain't no nothing.
Wow.
Went hard.
No recovery
ain't
days.
none of that. That's my before and after right there. For my 30 days, my 30 days
Okay,
was going
wow.
straight. So my blood pressure was crazy, but by the time I got to the end of it, blood pressure was good. Anyway, back up to I started trying to figure out exactly what it was. Was it all the
Right.
working out? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't. It was me doing that detox from Arden's Garden. Because every time I tried it differently, like if I'd be like, I'm not gonna eat no meat this week. I'm gonna try to. It goes right. My blood pressure get back right. I feel better. So I'm like, it's something to this.
Yes.
Yes.
It's definitely have to do with the food.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I
Because-
started doing a little research. I'm sorry, I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
get back to you. And I started doing a little research, and I started looking at the different shows. Like, well, that show that just came out, the one everybody probably know. What
What the hell?
the hell? Oh
yes.
my God! Right.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there going through that, looking at that, looking at a couple more things, and I realized that I don't want to eat meat no more. But I also realized too that I don't want to eat none of that. No, I don't know butter, I don't know eggs, I want nothing. But I also realized that if I start out that today, I'm not gonna
Right.
make it. So I'm starting out vegetarian right now. This
Okay.
first 6 months or a year. If I can do it in 6 months, if I think I can do it in 6 months, I'll try it. But my intention is to wait this whole year vegetarian, then try maybe next year vegan. Guys, that's hard. Vegetarian is one thing with being a vegan, so I need you to tell me how can I make that transition.
So, you know, first of all, how we learn to eat, right? Back at grandma's hymn, right?
Right.
We're in the kitchen, we're watching, and the food comes out and everything. So if you think about that, that was like hundreds of thousands of hours watching food being prepared that way. So you say it's hard. It's not necessarily hard. It's simple. It's just a lifetime of patterns. So now we're trying to stop all those hundreds of thousand hours, stop on a dime and change, and we can change. But my thing is that we got to be like a little bit easy on ourselves. Give ourselves some time to make the transition. One of the good things about you is that your body is very responsive. So your body has already told you, this ain't working, this is working.
I got it.
So it's very clear to you. Some people, it doesn't come as clear because it takes longer for their body to heal. But your body is like, I'm ready to heal.
Yeah.
As soon as you start doing the right thing for 3
Right,
days,
you're right.
we on and popping. And so that's really good because you have a very responsive body. And so I never tell people, so when I do cleanses and classes, I never tell people what not to eat. my thing is to introduce some of these raw vegan foods, especially whole foods. So just let me make a distinction. And I have some friends who own restaurants. In fact, we just left one of them. And the food is very highly processed, very mixed, very, cooked, very, also they have raw food too. But what I'm talking about, especially when you're cleansing and you're starting, you want to start off with clean, whole food.
Right.
Right? So the body can really understand what this is.
Right.
And so it's amazing because there were a couple things in science when I was growing up in Detroit, Oak Park High School, that I remember that now I realize is not true. So one thing they told us, like, oh, if you ever have brain damage, you'll never walk again. You'll never, because we didn't even have the word neuroplasticity. Now that's a word. Now that's a thing. The brain and the spinal cord regenerate, right? And the other thing was that's when they first started introducing genetically modified and engineered foods. And they said, well, plant DNA does not talk to human DNA. And now I know that's not true either. Like within these last 25, 30 years, it's like science has been turned on its ear from what we know. And so these whole, especially raw foods, will communicate to your body repair and give you the materials to repair. And your body repair in 3 to 5 days.
Right.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Right, really. Because my blood pressure was staying like over, like, I forgot the bottom
was
number
high.
well over 105 or something like that. The bottom number was staying like, it was like constant, like for a week or two straight. Like my top number was like 160 over like 105 or something like that. Like this was constant though.
Right.
I always went through the last 3-4 years. I went through like it coming back and forth, but I got scared.
Because that's stroke level.
Right, I know.
You know, and strokes, especially in our community, are huge things. One of my friends just had a stroke, and he's only 51. He can't even talk. Like me and my husband been trying to communicate to him to send him money. We don't have his exact address, and to try to connect him with neural therapists. He can't even talk. So we can't even support him. So it's very, very important that our blood pressure, our biometrics, that we know about them. I know many people who are like, oh, I mess with doctors, they don't really know. So that's just half the truth, because we definitely need to keep a pulse.
I personally, I have high blood pressure in my family, so I'm looking at it closely. Not that, I don't really think that a lot of these diseases, people think everything is hereditary.
Right.
I think it's from you just being taught, or you learn what your parents do or what your ancestors
exactly.
do.
Those hundreds
They
of
ate
thousands.
all this bad stuff all this time, that's what you do. So that's why you think it's hereditary. I got diabetes because my grandma.
Right.
No, you eat the same things your grandma would eat.
Only 5 or 10% of those kind of illnesses is hereditary.
5 to 8,
The rest of it is lifestyle.
And there's this new field that's opening up, and very few of us are really speaking in it and teaching from it, but it's called epigenetics. And so it's about your genetic makeup, and it's saying that certain foods and certain lifestyle principles can turn off and on genetics. So let's say there is a weakness. You're in that 10%, and you're in a weakness where your pancreas could be a little bit weak. It may not be as stable as maybe someone else who can eat a bunch of candy and it doesn't have an impact on them. But epigenetics say even though you have that weak gene, if you don't eat that stuff, you're not going to turn on that gene.
Right.
So we have a lot of, like you said, empowerment. We have a lot of power over what happens with our body. I mean, for instance, in my family, many of my family members are addicted to alcohol. And part of it is it's just genetics. Like Native American people and Irish people don't have the same.
Wait, I'm vegan. I can't drink alcohol. What did you just say to me?
Well,
Wait,
alcohol is vegan. We'll
quit.
talk about that. Oh, he just said, I forget it. I'm not in it. But like
no, serious question though.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But can't break down alcohol. And so their reaction to alcohol is very different.
Right.
So I have that same gene. One drink knocked me out.
Right.
But I know that. So, if I do drink, I'll drink some wine. And I'll try to get something organic and doesn't have sulfites, but it still has a bad impact on me. So the answer is for me just not to do it.
Right.
So, but it is a choice. Like I really don't believe that plant-based lifestyle, and I'm going to use plant-based to cover vegan, vegetarianism, raw food, is just going to be an umbrella, that it should be suffering.
Right.
I mean, we're Americans. So
Should be what?
suffering. So I feel like it should be fun. So if somebody is doing like, 50% raw or 100% vegan, and they want a glass of wine, I am not going to be the person to be like, no, you can't do that. So we were just talking about, like, there's some nonprofit agencies, PETA and other groups, they get real passionate about telling people what not to do.
Right.
And so for me, it's about inspiring people.
Right.
It's about, oh, try this. Isn't it good? It's like I make these raw collards. People don't even know that they're raw.
Wait, what?
Yes. I told him I was going to make something for you, but I'm in a healing space myself, so I was like, no, I'm not going to make any food this afternoon. But yes.
What'd that taste like? I mean,
it tastes
raw
amazing. It tastes amazing. I do food demos. I'll go to a place. They don't even know that I'm doing anything wrong. They just see me here chopping and mixing things, no fire. And I give them the samples, and they're like, oh, my God, that is so good. What's that? I say collard greens. They're like, no.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Yes. But this is the thing. The body needs those bitters to stimulate the gallbladder and to clear the liver.
The bitters.
Yes.
The
And that's a
grains.
real big missing in our community, in our culture, especially American culture. So in Ayurvedic Indian medicine, which is over 3,000 years old, there's 5 or 6 different flavors. So sweet, sour, bitter, astringent, salty, and savory. Savory is usually in your, your meat-based products, but also we have nutritional yeast. We got one
Right.
savory vegan thing. So really, the brain is looking to be satiated, and we in American culture,
I mean,
we
my
like,
dictionary talking to you.
it needs to be satisfied with all 5 or 6 flavors. So, but we only concentrate on salt and sweet and a little bit of sour. And so that means the organs that are basing their healing on bitter, like the collard greens, like arugula, kale, that's a whole missing. So a whole group of organs get neglected.
Right.
And so literally, you can taste something with your tongue, and your brain can say, oh, that has magnesium, that has copper, that has turmeric, that has cobalt, and we need it, and we want it. So that's my strategy. Okay, I'm going to make this for you, and actually what I like to do, I like to teach people. So I'm a hands-on instructor.
Is it true they say, like, if you're like a vegetarian or if you're a vegan, if you're fiending for something or craving for something, then more than likely it's your body telling you need what's in there. Like if you craving for a steak, maybe it's something in that steak that you
Right.
need, not necessarily the steak, but whatever.
Right.
Exactly. And I do believe that, but there is one caveat to that. So like I was saying, you could taste something with your tongue and your brain can already decipher it's got all these things, right? And so we do have that divine ability to discern. But we also have creatures that we host: fungus, mold, candida, parasites. And so as long as we're in charge and we're eating clean, then they are in balance. Then they're not overriding. But they can actually override our neural pathways and make us think we want these things.
Right.
Let me give you an example. So when you're watching Netflix in the middle of the night and you've eaten well, you had your soup, your salad, you had your smoothie, so you're satisfied. But you're sitting there at 10 o'clock at night thinking about ice cream, thinking about popcorn. It's like, man, I've been good all day, but I gotta have these.
Wait, popcorn ain't vegan?
It is, but it's fried. And it's a starch.
Wait, popcorn? You just taking all the fun out of it.
I'm sorry.
You said you can't even put the fun into it. Now I need the fun part. I need to bring the fun part. Okay?
Well, the funny thing about that is not you.
Right.
So if it was you, you say, okay, this is a great day. I got to this end of the day, 12 hours, and I've been good.
Right.
You would be like, well, let me get a cucumber. Let me get a carrot or a celery stick. But we don't want that.
Right.
We want the high starch, high fat, highly processed. So you know that's not you, because you're smarter than that. That's candida. That's parasite saying, it's 10 o'clock. We're nocturnal. Now we're up.
Right.
So it's time for us to eat.
Right.
So that's how you discern. If in the middle of the day you're thinking about a steak, yeah, you probably do have low iron. But the same way that cow or that lamb or that goat.
Got their iron, you can get yours. And they get
Exactly.
theirs from eating the grass.
Exactly.
Right.
People always say, how do you get your protein? Like, I have huge arms and huge legs. I mean, I'm not missing any protein. But what happens
Oh,
is
when have you ever heard somebody say deficient in protein, though?
never.
When have
Never.
I've never heard that.
Actually, we overeat we overconsume protein, and we're deficient on fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you see so many, like, I used to, when I first moved here in 91, I moved into Stone Mountain. I lived off of Memorial Drive. And it was like all these fast foods and maybe like one dialysis clinic. Now it's like all these dialysis clinics.
Yep.
And it's a direct correlation. The liquor stores and the fast food, eating meat 3 times a day, that's too much protein.
Right.
And so these RDA and FDA regulations say we need this many calories, this much protein. It's really not true.
And what's kind of crazy is a lot of people won't tell you, especially the guys, a lot of these guys who are bodybuilders and all this kind of stuff, they eat all that protein, but what they really don't let you people know is all that protein has also caused them to have erectile dysfunction.
Too much protein?
Yeah,
I mean, them bodybuilders, huh? We taking all that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing too. So we make our own protein. So all we need are amino acids.
Right.
So
But and the protein is a combination of amino acids, though, right?
Right. So if we had the amino acids, which moringa has
Yes.
all the amino acids.
Yes.
Bee pollen has
Yep.
all the amino acids. As long as we're eating foods that are amino acid rich, we can make our own protein. We don't have to eat complete protein, because when we eat complete protein, now we have to process it. And
Here we
not
go.
only do we process it, we got to process it energetically.
I definitely want to talk about that more. As far as complete and incomplete protein, like you just said, that amino acids, and so okay, we always people who work out or whatever always saying I need protein, but I guess you need to tell the difference. What's the difference between complete protein and the amino acids? You know what I'm saying? What's the pros and cons of both of them? Are they the same or whatever?
Right. So, and this is the same answer that I have when people say, well, where do you get your protein? I'm like, really? It's like, where do cows get their protein? They're on a mono diet, just eating grass. Just eating grass. The good ones, right? The other poor ones
Right,
getting
right.
the soy and the
Grass.
corn.
Right.
And that's, that's
That's a whole nother-
another
yeah.
thing, because they used to make omega-6 oil, omega-3 oils in their
Omega-3,
body.
right.
But now, since the cows are eating so bad, they're making omega-6 oils.
Right.
So don't even get me started on that, because oils, to me, oils and these different oils that we're eating, especially in the vegan community, it's why heart disease is a #1 killer.
And so why, we're going to go back to him right quick, but I know when I look around different YouTubes, you got some vegans who promote they don't use a lot of oils. They don't use olive oil or anything like that. If they saute their vegetables, if they sauteing, they use water.
Water.
You know, if they make their own salad dressing, it's usually like you use like avocado for their fat, but they use
Or flaxseed.
flaxseed,
meal.
something like that. They don't use no oils because they say even though olive oil could be considered a good oil for us, it's another way you could get good fats outside using oil. So
Yeah, see, okay, so my husband, who is a fit vegan athlete, had a heart attack last year. Yes, like big question mark. We're like, what happened? And what I realized is that even though we're vegan, and I'll have to go back to the whole title vegan. I'll say
Right.
plant-based. We don't bring meat in the house. We don't eat meat. But we still were getting a lot of the fun foods, right? The vegan, you go to Whole Foods, right? And they got the burgers, and they got the ribs, and they got all these vegan versions, right?
Yep.
Of foods that we're used to.
Yeah, I try to stay away from all the
Yes.
mock foods, because what's that? That's a whole nother.
Exactly. And that's my point. So if you look at the ingredients on these mock foods, a lot of them they start with safflower oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, which is, what is a canola? You know, rapeseed oil, all these oils that in nature we wouldn't be eating. When the last time you ate a cottonseed? like that's a waste product that they were like, oh dang, we can make some money off this. Let's put it in food.
Yep.
And so because vegan food, you know, is so highly processed, it has to have something to stick it together. So they put those omega-6 oils. So our body was designed for omega-6 oils to be 1 to omega-3 oils to be 1-to-1 ratio. But in America, our omega-6 to omega-3 is like 20-to-1. And it scars up the arteries
Yep.
throughout the body. And so every time you eat any oil, whether it be a high quality olive oil or it be a low quality cottonseed oil, it relaxes your arteries. Your arteries go limp. And then when they try to get back together, right, get themselves back together, then it puts a strain on them. It causes scarring. And that's what causes the inflexibility, because over time, from constantly healing themselves, it's like all this scarring now. And so people get so mad at cholesterol. But cholesterol is a lipid. It's a fat, right? Actually, it's a hormone that is, it presents itself as a fat in the body. It is actually a paste. So it is going around trying to close up all these holes. Because the body can tell this permeation, whether you have leaky gut and some of your food is getting in your blood, or whether you have holes in your arteries and blood is getting out of your arteries. So the body knows. So it sends cholesterol. So people have high cholesterol. I say, oh, you got a lot of holes in your body. And your body is trying to paste it up. So we get mad at cholesterol and try to lower the numbers. Why? We lower the numbers, we still got the holes in our body. We still got a Swiss cheese type body. The cholesterol is just a messenger saying, hey, we got
let's take a quick pause right quick for the station out there to tell them where they can find you at. She got some information. You need to tell these people real quick, you know what I'm saying, some of your info right quick. Cause I love you bring guests who really know what they're talking about. I'm sitting over here like, and you know I don't get on this side of the camera.
No, he don't never come on this side.
But I knew when you said what you were having, I was like, I gotta get into this, and if it's good, I'm gonna get on that side.
She good.
Okay, well, I'm Carla DeRosa. You can find me on the internet at rocket.com. So it's RAWXIT.com. And that's my website address. And you can email me at carla@rocket.com. Carla with a C at RAWXIT.com. So if you email me and give me your email address, or you can sign up on my website, then I will send you at least, there you go, at least monthly newsletters with recipes and tips and information, because that's why I'm here as a teacher to teach.
Love it. So one of the things that I tell people to is to, like, when they eating dinner and lunch and stuff like that, to kind of stay away from cold water. You're supposed to really just drink like room temperature water, because the cold water is going to harden all that fat and the oil stuff that's in the food. And it's going.
First of all,
look at him. I'm just smiling because it makes sense. I mean, I'm just smiling because it makes sense. That's the I am now.
First of all, no drinking while you're eating.
Right, exactly.
No drinking while you're eating.
See, that's what, like you say about my body naturally, like, no, through my whole life, like the stuff people say, I naturally do. Like I only like room temperature water. I don't drink until I'm finished eating my food.
Right.
I mean, most of the stuff that fried foods, I don't really eat fried foods. So most of the stuff, I'm just naturally don't like to do the bad.
Exactly. And like whoever's doing my detox, when they wake up in the morning, I say you need to do a liter of water when you get up, because you've been sleeping, so you're pretty much dehydrated. And so you need to do a liter of water, make it warm or room temperature, and then put the lemon and stuff like that in there to get it, the like alkaline in your body. But then too, what I want you to talk on too is like a lot of us are constipated. We just don't understand that.
Yes.
Oh, I went through a whole big thing with that. Are we gonna talk about that?
Yeah.
So
We
like
gotta talk about that.
Like
We
I said, a
gotta
lot of
talk
things
about
that
it.
naturally go on. It's just natural for me. You know, I'm gonna go once or twice a day. Period. It's just how I am. My last girl I was with, they did not. They went, I don't know, her and her girls went every other day, every 2 days, something like that. And we went at it. But me and my son and her girls, y'all go to the bathroom too much, y'all.
Wow.
We go when we eat.
Well,
so
see-
we researched and found out that you're supposed to go like after every meal.
Yes, exactly.
After every
So
meal, just
you
like
were
a
not
baby.
normal.
Right.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, our culture, our country, is chronic constipation.
Chronic.
And the problem with that is that any mucous membrane, like inside our mouths, inside our anus, it's absorbent, right? Because it's wet, it's thin skin, so it's constantly reabsorbed. So that's our colon too. So we have stuff sitting there for, like you said, 2-3 days. In her case, we're reabsorbing all the toxins that the body already deemed as waste.
Right.
Right.
The body already said, this, we can't use any of that. This is waste.
It's still sitting there, so we'll try again.
Right. So right. And so what it does is it dries you out. It makes you dehydrated, like you said, because the body is trying to diffuse all these toxins, and it's just sitting there getting drier and drier. And unfortunately, it is. And part of it is because we have chronic liver disease, chronic fatty liver disease. And I'm talking about it's actually like a new diagnosis. It's non-alcoholic related something hepatitis. But the acronym is NASH, non-alcoholic something hepatitis. And many of us have fatty liver disease and don't know. Why? Because we got them crazy oils. Everything's made in these crazy oils, and the liver is your second biggest filter, filtering out everything. And so these crazy oils, a lot of them in GMO. Yes.
What did they say? Say it out loud.
Alcoholic steatohepatitis.
Okay.
So non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it just comes from American lifestyle. Hamburgers, French fries, tater tots, macaroni and cheese, weird oils, and it fills up your liver. Your liver gets sick, and your liver is what helps the gallbladder put out bile to break down the food. And so if you don't have that, then you're getting constipated.
Right.
And so that's another thing why, don't drink while you eat. But most people, the meals come with drinks.
I really didn't know it. I'm going to be honest. It's just my mom just used to always, I thought it was a bad thing. Like, Mom, you got me when I won't touch my Kool-Aid until I'm finished with my, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, I had to tell myself, you can drink that. Right. You can taste it. You thirsty.
No, because right now, so while you're chewing your food, your body's making enzymes, preparing for digestion. If you drink, you're interrupting that. You are actually diluting your hydrochloric acid in your stomach. And so when your food get down there, it's just going to sit down there like a lump. And that's the beginning of constipation. The fatty liver disease, a lack of bile, and diluting your gastric acid by drinking while you're eating.
And just like how you were saying, the girls are saying that you go to the bathroom too much. So the girl I was mentioning, the young lady who mentioned that her blood pressure dropped, when she first started doing the detox, it was like overwhelming to her because she was going to the bathroom 3 times, maybe even 4 times a day.
Woo.
And she was like, she said, she was like, I'm not used to her. She thought something was wrong because she's used to going to the bathroom once a day or maybe once every other day. I'm like, okay, you was constipated.
Right.
And so now we try and get you out of that. So once you get past this detox, we want to see where you at. So you should be able to go the minimum 2. I said, no more 1. And so she was like, so now she said, I've never been so happy to actually go to the bathroom now.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I don't know where it comes from. And I guess it's part cultural, but it's like, oh, that's rude. You don't have gas. You don't go to the bathroom, especially for women.
That's
crazy.
Right.
Like, you got to get that stuff out of you. And the thing about it is, so if you're not going, your motility and your colon slow down, right? And then your colon starts getting real stringy. So your colon actually has all these little, they're like little cups all connected together.
Right.
And so, it's supposed to constantly be moving things. And when it doesn't, when it gets stuck, like she was saying she was going every other day, but what she was going from, I'm sure it wasn't from food from that day.
Right.
It probably was food from 1999 or something.
Right.
Exactly.
But seriously, everybody's walking around with these big old booty doos. It's like, that's food from back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about the booty dudes? Y'all don't know what a booty do is when your stomach stick out more than your booty do.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's real talk because
Yeah.
we start to go less, right? And you have this chronic constipation. Well, it gets caught in those little cups, that fecal matter.
Yep.
And we're reabsorbing and reabsorbing it. And baby, it's so many people
See.
who have cellular problems that like their cells can't heal.
Right.
Because of that. And then it gets heavy, it leans over, right? And then that's just like, we like, oh, I like Rick Ross. I like that look. Really? Really? He's skinny now, but okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. Like it's people that tell people, be proud of your body. You gotta love yourself as you are. You gotta love. No, do something about that shit. Get yourself together.
Yeah.
That ain't healthy. I mean,
You do have to love your
people-
body where you are.
you need to try to be healthy. I hate when people. I hate
But
that the worst.
you gotta do what's working. If it's not working,
Right.
then you're not loving your body.
Right.
Right. You know what I'm
Because see,
saying?
what I'm saying?
because see, when I coach a client, the first question I ask you, I say, is when did you stop loving yourself? And they say, what do you mean? I said, because you at this moment, you're not loving yourself. If you're 300 pounds and you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, you're not doing what you need to do to be the best version of yourself. So when did you stop loving yourself?
Right, because it's hard for me to believe you like that because you just got to be. You can do something. Show me
Right.
I just can't take it that, you know, I can't be no better, no different. I just can't take that. Are you trying?
Right.
I just love
But-
myself how I am.
But sometimes people are just, they're not there and they're not ready. What about Monique? Monique used to sing that song.
She
and
said it
now
wasn't
she
healthy.
dancing off the
She like it wasn't
pounds.
healthy. That's what
The
she said.
white
She did a whole
yeah.
special. I don't know the one I just went to, but she did a whole special about that. About it. It wasn't healthy. She's like, look, I said it, but look, y'all.
But see,
wasn't
because
healthy.
because she has so many women on that cheerleading team, like, cause she's yeah. And so then when she lost all the weight, they got mad at her.
Mm-hmm.
You too skinny. You
Right.
just trying to talk about. Because
People
you know
say
she
that
always talk about
Lisa
quote, unquote,
Nichols too.
the skinny.
Huh? Yes, that's my girl, and
I
she
know.
lost a lot of weight
She
too.
did lose a lot of weight.
What's her name? American Idol. She did a lot too. She did the old American Idol. What's her name?
Yeah,
Jennifer.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, to me, it's not about being skinny or
Healthy,
fat.
exactly.
It's about being your biometrics, about being the best version of you. Because you can look like an hourglass and still have a clogged liver.
Yep.
You can still have cancer. You can still be totally out of balance. So
Right.
it's really more. But we know when you got that booty do
Something
that
ain't
you're-
right.
That you're carrying feces.
Right.
So let me give you an example. John Wayne.
Yes,
Like we know
I use that
he's
all
an
the
American
time.
hero, right? And he owned a ranch, ate steak every
Every
day.
day.
And when he died of colon cancer,
Yes,
they did an autopsy. So you know, rich people, they get autopsies. We
Right.
just get a burial or whatever. So they got an autopsy. Although they knew he had cancer and he was old, they still took him apart. They weighed his colon. It weighed 85 pounds on its own,
yeah.
by itself.
How much do a regular colon weigh? I just don't
Probably
think it's
about
nowhere
20
close. I think
pounds.
I would
If
say
it's
probably
clean.
10% of that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Exactly.
So he had like,
But see, he was carrying
Go
all
ahead.
that.
DC.
He was carrying
That's
all
why,
that steak.
Jack. That's why I push detoxes and cleanses, because we carry between 5 and up to his case, maybe even 65 pounds of feces in our body.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So,
crazy.
like-
walking around with it. Just walking around, living
it's-
off
so
of it. Our
I
body's
have-
still
I
trying
have a buddy in Detroit who has a holistic center off of Outer Drive called
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, and so he's been doing it for like
Mm.
30 plus years. So when I was living in Detroit, I was getting ready to go on a cruise, and I go to the bathroom, and I eat pretty much healthy. And I went to him for my very first ever colonic, and he was like, "You had a hamburger?" I was like,
told you. It been
I was
2
like,
weeks ago.
yeah. I said, yeah, I had a hamburger.
Like, what?
And he was like, I said, well, I had that like Monday. And he was like, no, it's still in you. And so then he said, you had some
Unprocessed.
unprocessed. Then he said, you had some greens. I said, I sure did. I'm like, damn. And so he did this whole colonic cleanse, Jack.
He told you everything.
He told me everything I ate. He knew
How many
everything I
days
ate.
after did he call that stuff? I was a week later, 2 days later. What did he see that hamburger and stuff?
The hamburger was like a week later. But he said it takes like 21 days for beef to be processed.
But see, the thing about it is, so all that material is supposed to be kind in your stomach. It's supposed
Right.
to be a liquid.
Right.
So the fat that whole undigested food got in your colon,
Right.
that's a big
but
problem.
what was the craziest part, Jack, was you sitting there watching it, and he's massaging you, and he was like up in my rib cage. I heard some pop, and it was feces, and I looked at it, you see it coming out. It was pitch black. It's probably been sitting there forever. And
19.
yeah,
I'm scared to do that
and
one.
so,
I know I gotta do
and so
that.
Jack, when I got finished, and I got on the scale, I had lost 10 pounds.
Right after he finished that.
Right
So he
after I
took 10
finished.
pounds off y'all.
10 pounds right off the bat. And I go to the bathroom 3
Right.
times.
So just imagine
Right.
the people who go every other day.
Exactly.
There
That's
you
what
go.
I'm saying. It's from 1990.
Right.
something.
And so I had sent one of my nurses and her husband go. He lost 7. She didn't lose nothing because she was completely constipated because she don't barely go to the bathroom at all. She might
So
go
nothing
once
came
a
out?
week. She had to do a series because she was that blocked up, backed up.
And so we have lymph nodes all throughout our
Yeah.
body, around our breasts, our throat. And so they are helping to produce white blood cells to
Right.
kill things in our body, right? Things that are not supposed to be there. But if you have all this feces in your colon, your immune system is totally distracted.
Right.
It says, should I work on this or should I work on this? Should I work on this, work on that? And then in the meantime, everybody every day makes 40,000 to 50,000 cancer cells.
Yep.
So cancer cells are just irregular cells. Like we make trillions of cells. So 40 and 50,000 is not a lot. But if we're asleep, if our immune system is asleep and let them things get away, they start replicating themselves over and over again, and that's
Right.
how people get ridden with cancer. So cleaning the body out, then now the immune system just has to focus on what the new stuff coming in.
Right.
You know, flu virus, this bacteria, that. But if you got a lot of stuff holding on, you
Still
really
find that.
you're really
Right.
confusing your immune system. It's like what to do.
Exactly.
I'm overwhelmed.
Let's you don't mind
You
bring
go
the
ahead, brother.
conversation. Your husband. I'm sure everybody listening want to know more about that situation.
Yeah.
Considering how long have he been vegan?
So he was vegan. I guess he's been vegan about 17 years, but he's had high cholesterol, and so
The whole time he's been checking and it's been.
Oh
the whole
yeah.
time.
And so kind of like what you were saying, he was like, "Oh, my mother has it, my father has it, so that's just how it is." I'm like, "No. Your body's trying to repair itself. Something's going on." And I've been telling him this for a long time.
Tell me.
And so, of course, now, he's, more adherent. And,
That's how we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been, doing a lot more raw food, doing a lot less restaurant food. And he used to, like you talked about alcohol, he loved to drink. And so I think that's one of the things, too.
But he stopped drinking?
No, he still drinks. Like he'll
Slow
have a
down.
shot here or there, right? Because he likes hard, crazy stuff that I can't even smell. But I'm like, what's that? But he'll drink his beers, and so he more so focuses on beers here and there. But he's calmed down, like I would say 1,000%. But a lot of times we think, well, if I'm exercising, then I could do whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If my parents had it, I don't have a choice. It's like, no.
Right.
No, you have to empower yourself and you have to listen to those signs.
Right.
High cholesterol over a long period of time, it's a sign. It's the body saying something. Pain, chronic pain. It's the body communicating. So I thank God that he had this heart attack and recovered, because so many people have a heart attack and they die.
Right.
I have 2 small kids, 12 and 13. So now he's here working out, right? Much more conscious of what he eats. Finally letting go of the bottled dressings, which I think is a big problem, because
It
what's in
is.
a bottled dressing? Cottonseed oil, safflower oil, rapeseed oil, canola oil, all those
And
crazy,
sugar.
crazy oils.
And sugar.
Yes. And so he's a lot more conscious, to the point where the doctors cannot believe how fast he's recovered. And so part of it was because he was already somewhat healthy, but another
for the
part of it,
cholesterol.
except for the cholesterol, but now he's he's doing things to actively break down the mineralization in his arteries. So he was doing like a off and on alkaline water, distilled water, because alkaline water has a lot of minerals in it. So part of what causes these heart attacks are these blockages that could be filled up with minerals and metals and things like that. Distilled
Instead of
water,
cholesterol. instead of cholesterol?
Well,
you say cholesterol is going trying to patch it up.
Right.
So you're saying the minerals can also do that?
Yeah, I mean, anything. It actually, what it precedes a heart attack, just like in a case of a stroke, is a blood clot. And so all that's in the clot. You know, the blood, it could be too much minerals, it could be the cholesterol. So, and that's what the doctors, the cardiologists started him on all these blood thinners and all these things to, you know, just make things flow. But there's a lot of natural things that you can do to make things flow as well. So he's been doing, you know, more herbs, more moringa.
Yeah.
He's been doing the distilled water. Distilled water will pull minerals out of everything, but that's why you can't do it longer than a week or so.
Right.
Because then it start pulling minerals out of your bones.
Right.
So some people get on distilled water and never get off, and then
Right.
wonder why their hip collapse or
Right.
their, you know, no, you can't do it. But so he's been doing these very strategic protocols to open up his arteries.
Yep.
And it's been working.
Let's go back and try to stop his heart attack. Let's go back and see what we could have did different. Him already being vegan, what do you think he was doing, or you guys could have did a year or 2 years, whatever, prior to possibly stop this? What you think you could have?
So no processed foods. So take all those processed dressings out. See, even him being a vegan and focusing on salad, might be eating those dressings 2-3 times a day.
Right.
Right.
So that out, the alcohol down to a minimum, right? And stress.
He talking about
So
taking
he
the
was on a
alcohol away.
job for 13 years that he hated.
Yeah.
And he's such a good dad, such a good partner, such a good provider. He would never quit on his own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You made him
And-
quit.
Well, when he, it's so funny because when he
It might be funny
had
now,
the
baby.
heart attack, then the job started getting shaky. And he could have went back, but he ended up going somewhere else. He just ended up starting contracting. And so, you know, and it's funny because, you know, he ended up buying the car he wanted and just being more self-expressed. So you could tell that it was just a lid on his life. It was a lid on his heart. And so like you were telling me, you had a guest who did energy work. So like today I had some energy work done on my body. So everybody knows what I eat, and I'm trying to stay on a path that's, you know, whole plant-based. But energy gets caught in organs. It's not necessarily that you eating the wrong foods.
Right.
So at some point in time, energetically, he has some blockages around his heart. He has a very rigid way of being sometimes. Now he's more relaxed, but he's been doing energy work. He's been doing the strategic food medicine work. And I think that if those interventions, along with letting go of that stressful job, would have happened earlier, then it would have prevented him from having a heart attack. But the thing about it, the heart attack was a communication,
Right.
saying these things aren't working.
Get
Even
it
though you're
together.
doing all these things aren't
And see, I
working.
think a lot of times, especially people who don't want to conform to a healthy lifestyle, may hear something like that he was a vegan, he was athletic.
Yeah,
That's gonna be their reason for not to
doing-
do
that's
it.
why I asked her to come in
Right,
on that and
that
talk more
not to
about
do it but the key is a lot of times, even for people who are healthy, that if the lifestyle and stress is part of the lifestyle,
Right.
if that we don't fix that will trump everything else anyway. And so that was like he was out of balance because he was not happy at where he was at, and
Right.
and he didn't know, he probably didn't have a great way to release that stress.
Exactly.
So that's a
And that's
key
the
thing.
thing too. So yeah, people could take it and say, well, you know, he's eating your raw food and he still got sick, so I'm just going to eat my potato chips. Okay, you could take it that way. But my thing is,
It probably been worse if he wasn't vegan.
Exactly.
he wouldn't even be here.
Right.
No.
right.
Right?
No.
He's recovered. He's in great health, and he wouldn't even been here if he wasn't doing.
That's the part they
things
need
that
to
he
hear.
would.
That's the part
Yes.
people don't seem to realize.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
they just think, oh well, it must don't work for nobody. It must nothing he
Right.
did. No, just
Well,
And
see,
see-
the thing about it is, no one is in perfect health.
Right.
No one.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you do. You could be a vegan like all your life. Your organs are going to break down because that is life. what we're trying to do is not be immortal, but have a very high quality of life and use the information that we know to empower ourselves.
Right.
And live longer. I want to live longer.
And live
I want to live a little longer. I might
Okay.
not. I mean, I can't live forever, but I'm doing it because I want. If I can put an extra 5 years on my
Yeah.
life, you know what I'm saying about doing it.
High
Exactly.
quality. I'm
and,
with you. High
and
quality.
more importantly than living for a long time is like you said.
That's
a high
right.
quality
Quality.
of life. You
I
know what
wanna
I'm
be
saying?
able to
When I get
talk,
80
no
years old, I still
diapers.
can kick it with.
Yes.
Right. You know
If
what
I
I'm
can
saying?
talk,
No diapers at
diapers,
80, I'm good. No
Yeah.
diapers at 80, I'm good.
Yes. So that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Well, I sure appreciate you having me on your show. I'm gonna get back here to work and
Appreciate you.
Appreciate everything is going all right. I
So
definitely.
did we
we
cover
gotta talk
everything
some more.
about protein?
Most of it. I got some more questions we'll ask y'all.
Okay.
We got
Okay.
more
Definitely
time.
interesting.
I know you ain't gonna want to get in front of the camera, so
Why not? She's a ham. Come on.
come
now.
on, come,
Yeah.
come on. So, you have the two experts here, and you know, but we had Jack asking a lot of good questions. But I have a student of Miss Carla's here. So, can you tell your name and how long you been working with Carla?
Dante,
Uh-huh.
and I've known her for over 25 years.
Okay.
But I've been working with her steadily for about going on 2 years now.
Okay.
2.5 years. Something.
So, how have your health changed since you started
oh
working?
my God! Now don't tell anybody this.
Okay.
But I'm 63.
Okay.
She has, and I don't even know what 60 feels like anymore.
Okay.
I really don't. I've learned about alkaline water.
Uh-huh.
I've learned about hydrogen water,
Mm-hmm.
eating correctly, and I have to give you this one story. We've talked about, your bowels and all of that good stuff. Let's talk about our GERD and acid reflux.
Mm-hmm.
I had that really bad. She put me on a 10-day cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't done any of these cleanses, anything like that, but it hurt so bad. I'm a veteran, so of course I'm taking these pills.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they do us.
Yep.
So she put me on a 10-day raw and just vegetables, all that good stuff. And after the 10 days, she had me taking notes and writing and keeping a journal of what I need, what was going on. So I did that. It eventually subsided. I mean, it was to a point where I was going to go to the doctor to see if anything had burned in my chest and throat. That's how bad it was. But after the 10 days, it subsided. Then she put me on a 20-day and took out the tomatoes and lemons, and because I love spicy food.
Right.
Throughout that 30 days, I started to really very rarely have it in just those 30 days. And now I can honestly say I don't really feel it.
Okay.
So that, just doing just that. And I'm not a raw person, I'm not that, but I'm eating better and eating healthier.
Right.
I still do like fish, and I wasn't liking fish or anything like that. But you don't, and these are I'm just speaking to the people who, I don't think I could do raw totally or something. Eventually, you can do some of it, and it works, whatever. And I feel healthier. I ride a motorcycle. I go to the gym. I've maintained my weight of about 136, 137, so it helps me maintain that. And I think I've gathered
You
quite a
lost
few
weight.
years. And lost weight. So I'm maintaining that 130 something from almost 150, and into the 40s and now into the 30s, and maintaining it. So as a senior, you get older and your body starts to tell you, hey, this isn't working for you anymore. You need something new.
Now, I
This is
wasn't
the
gonna
person
call
to
you
do
a
it.
senior, but as part of the ageless community,
Thank you.
speak to them who probably want to contact somebody like me or Carla, and they scared to. So, since you are experiencing this, what would you say to these people who are looking to create that change in their life?
Basically, just do it. If you care about yourself, if you love yourself, just do it. They don't bite. They don't harass you.
Right.
They care about you. These
Right.
people care about the community. They care about the people that they serve, and they're here for us. And it doesn't hurt. I mean, I was one of those people back in the day that meat eater, junk eater, and didn't care. But once certain things started affecting me and affecting my life, and as I got older, it's like I got to do something, or I'm taking myself out.
All right.
So if you don't want that to happen, just try it. It doesn't hurt.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna sleep back.
Yeah, so esophageal cancer is real, and it comes from GERD. And a lot of people have acid indigestion. So you see people taking Tums and Prilosec, the purple pills, those commercials come on constantly.
Right.
And it's almost like the constipation thing. People are like, oh, that's what happens when you eat spicy food. That's what happens when you eat fried food. No, it doesn't have to happen. But, you know, she did some raw, and then she did vegan, and she took out the acidic foods. But more importantly, she was chewing her foods 40 to 50 times per bite. She wasn't drinking while she was eating. So she allowed her body to remember exactly how much acid to make. See, when we drink while we're eating and we're diluting the hydrochloric acid, then the body makes more of it.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, this is too diluted. Let me turn it up a little bit. And so then it climbs up higher and higher and higher, and it burns out the throat.
Right.
And a lot of people walking around with throat cancer
Yes.
from uncontrolled gastric esophageal reflux disease.
I want you to speak because I've been getting a lot of people who may have reached out to me, and especially men who have high blood pressure, diabetic, and from taking those pills for both, now they have kidney issues. One is on dialysis, but it can be reversed. But you know, can you speak to them?
Yeah, so you're talking about high blood pressure and diabetes, and then how the medication eventually impacts the kidneys.
Yes.
And also the liver.
Yes.
So a lot of us on chronic pain medication,
Yes.
eventually it's going to burn out your liver.
Yeah. And before you speak to that, I want to speak to that because those who follow my journey know that, you know, back in Memorial Day weekend, I was in the hospital because I got bit by that brown recluse spider, and they put me on Percocet. So Percocet, of course, is a narcotic. So if you on Percocets at home or any kind of pain medication, those are narcotics. Narcotics will constipate you. So you will have chronic constipation because you're taking those pills. You really have to work on your nutrition when you do that, or try to get off of it, and try to find natural ways to take care of the inflammation that you got going on.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I do want to speak to the pills, and then we'll go back to the blood pressure and diabetes, because like even though I do a lot of supplements, you know, moringa, turmeric, things like that, I do not take capsules or pills because it is very hard to digest them. One of my mom's friends was with Shakely or one of those vitamin companies where you get the packets of pills, and she had emergency surgery that opened her up, and there was bunch of pills stuck together.
Exactly.
And if you ever try to make your own capsules, those veggie gel capsules
Yeah.
are very sticky.
Very.
They get wet, they get hard. And so we put those in ourselves thinking that we're nourishing ourselves, and it may never get to our body. It may
Right.
just go out. I saw a 60-minute special when I was much younger about a plumber. He was saying all this medication in the plumbing. And he could read the inscriptions, so they had never even digested at all.
Right.
So it clogs up plumbing. Imagine what it'd do to your body.
Exactly.
Right, just going straight through. So that's medication and supplements. So for me, and this is one of the things I'm working on, is creating a proprietary spice line of, you know, moringa and berberine and all these spices in a shakeable container where instead of taking capsules, you just shake it on your food, or you cook it in your food, or you
Yes.
mix it into your homemade salad dressings, because homemade salad dressings will save your life.
Right.
Yeah, and so this is the thing. Those high doses, the body don't even want that. Right? The body wants low doses of minerals, enzymes, and vitamins that it can slowly absorb over time. So that's really what the body wants. I mean, before we had capsules, we just had herbs. We walk by, grab a piece of basil and chew on it.
Right.
Walk by, get a piece of dandelion and eat it. We didn't have all these capsules and
Right.
pills and
Exactly.
all this nutty stuff, but that's what we've chosen, and our digestion can't even handle it.
Right.
You're just getting stuck all in there, like you said, causing constipation. All right, back to blood pressure. So blood pressure is about the arteries being constricted, right? So of course we know that's like stress, you know, so that's number one thing. So one of the things I teach from is a is a nutrition pyramid. And I should have brought it. I didn't know it was going to be all these visuals. But the nutrition pyramid on the outside of it is like a symbol of breath and air. So first of all, we don't even breathe right.
Right.
So we got to learn how to breathe right. So when we breathe, when we take in a breath, we have to expand our gut, right? And then when we exhale, then we pull it in. And so part of the reason why we have blood pressure problems is people are not breathing.
Right.
They're not breathing right. They're not breathing deeply. And so it's like that tension. And that tension is funneled into our blood pressure. And there's a book called The Stress Technique, and it's all about breathing. And it have studies on how they brought down people's blood pressure just by teaching them how to breathe right.
Okay.
So the other thing too is, so I have very low blood pressure, but there are times when my blood pressure has spiked. When I'm constipated, because it's like you plugged up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
you backed up.
Exactly.
So that's the other problem with blood pressure. Is people their bad digestion, fatty liver disease, drinking while we're eating, eating all sorts of sticky starches, right, and not enough fiber, like you said earlier, causing the constipation. It causes like a vortex in the body.
And that's so true, because when I got out the hospital and I was trying to cleanse my body to get back to normal, when I was going back to the doctor to get a checkup, my blood pressure was higher than normal because I was still constipated from all those narcotics. So it's like they put you on all these pills, but then those pills is gonna cause you to take more pills. So you gotta really learn to find the foods, like you said, the moringa, which I live by.
Yes.
You know, I was just telling somebody today, she probably listening, 'cause she's vegan, but she never knew what moringa was. I said, you have to have it. You know, you have,
it's a superfood.
Superfood, you know. And if you look through any YouTube, a lot of them, you put on anything and everything. So if if they make an avocado toast, they put moringa on it on there, because you can't have it. I use moringa tea, so that's my way of getting some energy. If I don't have the powder, I use the tea. And that's my way of getting me energy. It helps with your blood pressure. It helps with your blood sugar.
Oh yeah.
It's and the crazy part about it is, Carla, when you try to tell people about this stuff, they won't know what's it for. I'm like, okay, I can tell you what it's for, but are you going to use it?
Right. I know. It's very interesting how, like, people very much demand that I know the intricacies of the science of all the foods, the natural foods that I advocate. And I'm like, wow, just think if you had asked that of your doctor.
Exactly.
When you were put on that medication in the first place. Like, that intellectual curiosity is like tenfold when it comes to something natural, but when it comes to something synthetic or commercial, we like, okay, the doctor told us, I'm gonna do it. It's like, no, you got to be curious over there too.
Right.
But I got something for you.
Okay.
So I am printing my recipe book, my first recipe book this month.
What?
So yes, it's called Rock Your Life: 21 Delicious Plant-Based Recipes. And so one of the recipes is my green matcha and moringa tea.
Okay.
And you can also make it as a smoothie if you add chia seeds to make it thicker.
Right.
But it's the same thing. So, instead of taking a capsule, I have it in my green tea.
Yeah.
Green tea is giving me natural, invigorating, clean caffeine. And the moringa is like everything. Like you can literally live off moringa.
So you got the green tea, and then you put some moringa powder in there.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
First of all, you take some beautiful, clean, unsulfured, dry coconut shreds.
Okay.
And you take 1 cup of that and you mix it with 3 cups of clean filtered water.
Okay.
Preferable alkaline water. If
Okay.
You got it. And you mix it. So right then you got your coconut milk. So that's your base.
Okay.
And so you're going to put your moringa. Sometimes I put a tablespoon because, I'm used to doing moringa, so I can do a lot.
Yeah.
And I put like a teaspoon of the green tea because it'll give you the little buzz. It's very high in caffeine.
Right.
And then I'll season it with a little bit of vanilla, cardamom, and I might put some stevia. I don't necessarily need the sweetener, but I'll put stevia in it sometime. And it's something like, and I blend it in the Vitamix for like 2 minutes, and it gets hot. it's just like a Starbucks drink.
Wow.
And it's amazing.
So you put matcha in there too?
Uh-huh.
So
the
put
green matcha tea,
so
but not the maca.
okay.
That's another realm.
Yeah.
I use something else for my maca, but the matcha.
Yeah. So
green
tell
tea.
them what that is.
The
Matcha green tea.
Okay, so the matcha green tea it's a baby tea leaf, and it is green. And so with tea leaves, we typically let them get mature and they get dry and brown, and then we put it in a bag and we pour water over them. With these are baby leaves, and they gently dry them out and make them into a powder. And so it came from Japanese ceremonial tea. So it used to be like really, really special, $50 an ounce, and now it's become more and more popular
Right.
because it is so highly antioxidant. Like, it is really good for people who are trying to clean up their body, clean up their cells. If people might have cancer, you want that antioxidant because you want that selective antioxidant where it's killing the cells or the aberrant particles in the body. It's really good.
Okay.
And so combining that with the nutrition of moringa, please, that's all you need.
That's
right
all.
there. You got
I'll
your
be-
coffee, you got your sausage biscuit, you got
That's everything. That's everything.
And one
That's
drink.
everything.
And no guilt, no excess calories, no crazy oils or fats.
Okay.
And then if you need it to be a smoothie, then you just add your chia seeds.
Okay.
And your chia seeds will give you your omega-3s.
Exactly.
And it'll be thick, right?
So, I know when we talked about your husband and all that kind of stuff, you have really been stressing about the dressings. So, can you give them an idea of a dressing they can use that don't have oil?
Yeah, actually, I have one on my website. It's a creamy garlic dressing, and so, like you said, you could take avocados, and I'm not against oils. So let me just say this. So when my husband had a heart attack, and that's why I share it, because my thing is not to be like, I'm perfect and y'all doing wrong, but to say, hey, let's all learn from our
Together.
experiences. Like, he lived for a reason. He's in my household for a reason. And I feel like it's part of my ministry to let people know
Absolutely.
what's real, what's up, and not to be, some kind of false illusion of
Exactly.
perfection. Because there is no perfection,
Right.
right? It's just what we do. And so anyway, going back to the dressings. So you can make it with anything. So I love vinegar base. So like I have some raspberries in my freezer. I'll put raspberries, some balsamic vinaigrette. Now, if I want to add some clean olive oil, I can. But the thing about it is I know the oil is going to relax my arteries. So I don't want to do that every day, right? Bill Clinton. So he was a big old junk food junkie, right?
Right.
Remember he used to take the limo through the McDonald's when he was
Right,
the
yep.
president, and then he had that triple bypass, right? Crazy heart attack. And so then he attracted to him a holistic doctor. Well, his holistic doctors, like you were saying, some vegans say no oils. Because you know why? They say that because they know not many people are going to be calculating how many omega-6s to how many omega-3s I had.
Right.
Nobody's going to be trying to figure it out, right?
Exactly.
So they say instead of having all that confusion about omega-3s, omega-6 ratio, it's just like no oils. And the thing about it is when you think about how ancient man and woman lived, we didn't have like oils. Like that was later. Like we didn't have bottles of oils just sitting around. We got our oils from, the fatty acids in the plants. We got coconut oil from eating coconut.
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
Right? So we
Yep.
weren't eating no cotton seeds, I tell you that, or grapes or canola, whatever those weird GMO things are.
Right.
But now they're a part of our daily life. Sometimes I go to Restaurant Depot when I'm doing cleanses, because when I do my cleanses, I prepare everything for everybody.
Okay.
So I'll get containers, especially I'm doing the waters, I'll get water jugs. And I see these, they got to be 50-gallon jugs of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil. Like, what vegetables do you know have that much oil in them?
Exactly.
It's just not true. To me, I think that these things that they use in restaurants are petroleum-based waste products that they just got from industrial, whatever they're making, and here's some extra stuff, and they're like, wow, we can use this as food. And when it gets in the body is like, what the hell? We don't know what that is. It's not food, so we just gonna stick it over here.
Right.
We don't want to stick it over there, right? And that's cellulite.
Exactly.
Right? Those rolls. That's that back fat.
Right.
But the body is really smart because the body be moving it to the edge to get away from the organs and not to, to preserve the health of the person. That's the same reason why everybody gets on the cleanse. The first thing they lose is water weight. Why? Because the body can finally relax. The water is what's protecting the organs from all these poisons and toxins in our system.
Right.
So when we let down our guard in terms of like we're doing clean foods and the body is relaxing, now that's one thing that's going to help the blood pressure because now the body can relax.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And you lose that water weight and people are like, wow, I lost 5 pounds in 5 days. Yes, from waste and water weight, that protective water weight that was protecting you. And that's why, like, you can feel fine, drink a margarita with that salt on the rim, and the next day you got cankles, you got swollen ankles, because the water will push all those foreign materials down to the extremities of your body, your ankles, your wrists, to get it out the way so it won't be in your blood system. But white iodized salt is not even a food.
No, it's not.
So it's salt that's fired up to 12,000 degrees. Everything is burned out of it. The only way the government can call it a food is they add iodine back into it. But I highly recommend people get iodine from other sources, like seaweed.
Right.
Right?
I love it.
Not from salt. Yes, we get it. I mean, you can't help but get it. If you live in America, you're going to get some iodine from your salt here and there. But I will tell you, I'm starting to meet people who have not done salt in a couple of decades because they, when they were in their 20s, they knew better. And now they're starting to have thyroid issues from an iodine-starved thyroid.
Right.
So we got to get the iodine in, but we got to lay off the white salt.
Right.
And I like liquid aminos if people aren't sensitive to soy.
Yep.
And I also like pink Himalayan salt.
Yep.
But you still got to get your iodine from somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, what vegetables do you think is a staple they should have on a daily basis?
Okay. So, do you know Dr. Richardson?
Yes, I do.
So, Dr. Richardson from American Clinics for Preventative Medicine, him and his wife, Quinny, are like really good friends of mine. Dr. Richardson, he's my doctor. And so, I was going to see Dr. Richardson.
Aren't they in Marietta?
Yeah, they're in Marietta.
Yeah.
Terra Mill Road. And Dr. Richardson was like, okay, because I was having some health issues. We're always, especially as wellness coaches, we're trying to fine tune, we're not trying to let things go. And he was like, well, I know you do the raw food, but he said, I don't think you're doing enough greens. I was like, what do you mean, Dr. Richardson? I am raw. I am doing like 80% raw. And just for the record for everybody, I'm probably right now doing about 50 or 60% raw. And so I'm not a raw foodist, and I don't claim myself to be a vegan. I like the term plant-based.
Right.
Primarily plant-based. And so for me, vegan is kind of a political term.
It is.
Because right now I got on some leather shoes, and I know some folks might be mad, but that's what I'm saying.
That's the political term for the vegan.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Waka Flocka?
Yeah.
This week he said he wasn't a vegan.
Right.
And that's because he was eating some honey and somebody jumped on him. And so that's what I'm saying. My philosophy is not to jump on people, not to tell people what not to do, but to inspire people.
Right.
Because now here this, rap rock star had all these people going vegan.
Yes.
And then Peter jumped on him, and now he's not vegan. And so people are like, okay, whatever.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, wow, let the man eat some honey. He's okay.
Exactly.
He lost 50 pounds.
He did. He looked good.
Yes. So I lost my track of thought.
So you was going to the doctor, Dr. Richardson?
Oh, yeah. So Dr. Richardson, he was like, okay, but Carla, you're not eating enough greens. And so he has this whole thing about, we're close to primates. He's like, primates, they eat like 90% greens, fruit, and a little grub, like bugs or whatever. So they're like 99% vegan, but 90% greens. So, okay, I was like, so how much greens I'm supposed to eat, Dr. Richardson? He's like, let's start with a pound a day. I was like, a pound a day? You know, the pound when you go to Kroger and they have the big, that's the biggest you could get your greens. A pound, one a day. And first of all, those things are $5.99. That's $6 a day. But I tried it. And all the complaints that I had went away. And so it made me realize that greens are the food for our species. You know how we always talk about, oh, we're running out of this, we're running out of that. But plants grow so fast, abundantly. Like back in the 80s, I used to watch a lot of sci-fi. But back in the 80s, we only had 3 billion people on the planet. So all the sci-fi shows were based on, you know, the Earth having a population of 3 billion. Now we have a population of 7 billion. But you can grow food to double your population.
Right.
Because food, you can sprout. Like I could sprout some beans and we could be eating those beans in 2 days.
Right.
Like even if all the food disappeared, if we had a couple of seeds, we'd have food in 2 days from sprouting it. But how long it's going to take to grow a chicken or a goat or a cow? A lot longer, right? And then they're going to need to eat too, right? So it dawned on me, it's like, oh, we will never be without food because greens are our natural food. So for me, I really do think people should be focusing on greens. Now, I do know that, like you were saying with your colonic, that the greens was in your colon. Like it escaped your stomach, escaped the hydrochloric acid, and somehow got in your colon, which is terrible because it's not digested, so you didn't get any of that, right? And plus it's compacting, causing constipation. So we got to learn to eat our greens. So we're so used to taking 2 bites and a gulp. 2 bites and a gulp. So if we didn't have like school and work and radio shows and travel and all this stuff, right? Like all the other animals, they just chew their food. Like they really make a smoothie in their mouth. And then they swallow.
Cause we in such a hurry, so we just we force the food down so fast.
Exactly.
And then I think too, like greens, when you talk about salads, I think everybody look at romaine. But I just challenge everybody to make a big salad and just you could put some romaine in there, you could put some spinach in there, you could go get some dandelion greens from like Sprouts or the farmer's market, because dandelion greens is major because it's going to detox that liver. Of course, green collards. Make arugula. And it don't got to be one particular green. You can put several different greens in there. That's going to help cleanse all different parts of your body.
And to me, you got to rotate your greens.
Exactly.
Because every food, including moringa, if it to a certain level in the body, it starts to become a toxin. So we got to rotate our food, because when we were ancient man and women, we're hunter and gatherer. We're foragers. So we would go out there, and so let's say we found a patch of sweet potato plants. So we ate the leaves, because you can eat sweet potato leaves. They're delicious. Then we find the tubers, and so we eat the sweet potatoes. Well, guess what? It's not Whole Foods. They're not going to get a delivery tomorrow, right? It's going to take 9 more months to regrow that. So we will be forced to eat something else. But right now, we just keep going back to the same thing every day. And I've had clients who they do spinach smoothies every day, and they ended up with kidney stones because of the oxalic acid, too much. You can't just do one thing. Like we get stuck on 5 foods and we just want to do those all the time. It's like, no, baby, you got to rotate. Like you said, you have to have the mixed greens, all different kinds, because they're all doing different things. And if you just stick with the kale every day, no, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it.
And even throwing in some herbs like the cilantro, the parsley in your salads, because those gonna help with the metallic that's in your body, all that kind of stuff. The dill, all that basil, all that stuff be good to be in your salad, because it's all gonna help different parts of your body. And so I just it's what I challenge people. I know you probably challenge them too, is to expand your palate of what you think you can and cannot eat.
And that's one of my hobbies. So I love to go to different ethnic restaurants and try to figure out, like reverse engineer, what is this? What's that taste? What's that smell? And so I had this huge breakthrough. I read this book called The Dorito Effect. You heard of it? Oh my God, you gotta read this book.
Okay.
It is mind blowing. So in the Dorito Effect, the guy, he's talking about the history of synthetic foods, right? So he talks about Doritos and how we get hooked on Doritos. So you eat a Dorito, and if it had everything that it promises it would, it would have garlic and onions and cumin and turmeric, because that's what it looked like, all those different orange and red chili, right?
Right.
But all of those are synthetic. But when you taste it, like I said earlier, the brain is like, oh, turmeric, oh, onions, we're gonna get sulfur, oh, cumin, we're going to get cobalt. Like, it's really calculating all these minerals that are going to be extracting and getting excited, right? And then you eat that Dorito, and it's like an empty promise. It's like a bad check.
Exactly.
And nothing's in there. So the brain is like, what the heck just happened?
Exactly.
You promised me that, and I ain't got nothing. So what do? We eat another one. And it's like, okay, not there. And then we keep trying again. And it causes this habit of addiction because the body is looking for certain minerals through taste association. And so my idea, like I was telling you with the proprietary spice blend, is they tricked us into synthetic foods through synthetic flavors.
Right.
So all we got to do is take that same mindset and put it on whole food.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All we got to do is take the real onion and garlic and turmeric and cumin and put it on real food and make real food taste good. Like, they got us hook, line, and sinker.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's so quick. We got to slow down. We got to go to the market. We got to stay out of the convenience stores. We got to buy those spices. Spices are medicine.
Exactly.
Because you can have one leaf of basil, or I love your example about the cilantro, because cilantro definitely is a metal detoxifier. They have a whole protocol on kids with autism doing cilantro strawberry smoothies every day to get that cilantro in them, to get them to excrete the metals.
Right.
But if you have like a stalk of cilantro, right, and you're chewing on that, that's one thing. But if you have some cilantro powder, right? So a teaspoon of cilantro powder is going to be like 50 stalks of cilantro, because it's dehydrated and powdered. Is so much more concentrated.
Exactly.
So in the live cilantro, you got the living enzymes and you got the living energy, and that's great. And I love that. And that's one of the reasons why I like raw food, is because it has enzymes. But the dried herb version is so much more concentrated with the minerals that we really need.
Right.
And that so many people are deficient of. And that's the foundation of disease in this country, and inflammation is nutrient deficiency.
Key. It was so funny because when I went to school for it, your parents, they used to doing what they do. And so I was saying, where was he at? I was been home. I was in Cleveland. And for our family reunion, my mother had arthritis really bad, and she could barely walk. So I said, I need you to make a smoothie or just take some turmeric. I said, take some turmeric. I said, eat some pineapples. And I said, make you some ginger tea. And I said, take that and let me know how you feel. So she did it for a week, and she was walking like nothing. And so she started telling all her friends, I said, you giving all my secrets away, and they ain't gonna come. Well, I can't make them pay you. But she started to see that is anti-inflammatory, and that's all that was causing any itis. It's inflammation.
Yes.
So you do take the herbs and the pills like we tell you, it will help you with those things.
Because they're offering those minerals that we're deficient in.
Exactly.
So I saw one study showing, like, in 1935 how much nutrients were in broccoli versus 2000. I think the study was like 2015. It was 1/8 of the nutrients that was in that 1935 version of broccoli. And one of the reasons, and like we're notorious for, especially in Georgia, is because we over cultivate our land and we don't feed our land. So we grow crops, and we've been growing crops since, before antebellum, just growing crops in the same place, and we don't fertilize and we don't feed. And so we cannot rely on just eating healthy foods. We have to supplement, is my philosophy.
Yeah.
But, I'm not into pills.
Right.
I'm really not into pills. I'm into anything that has a powder version.
Exactly.
I'm all over it,
And
right?
I tell my clients, go, whether it's the dollar store, get containers or whatever, and you label your containers and you buy the powders and use it. You could use, powder for moringa, powder for your spirulina, powder for your chlorella, powder for your wheatgrass.
Yeah, your cranberry
Your
for your UTIs.
Exactly. All
Get your
that
cranberry
stuff.
powder.
Exactly. So then you create your own medicine cabinet of your powders you need, the herbs you need, spices you need. So then, because I don't do pills either, and so they said, okay, so now I'm getting everybody to create their own medicine cabinet
Yes.
of powders and stuff like that.
And you can mix them with small amounts of liquids and make your own tonics
Yep.
and tinctures and concoctions that you
Exactly.
could get down, and people are like, oh, I can't do that. It's too bitter. That's what you need.
That's what you need.
That's why your gallbladder is not working.
Exactly.
Because you need some bitters.
Because sometimes I don't even focus. If I really want a strong green smoothie or a string juice, sometimes I don't put no fruit in there,
Right.
and I just do it gangster and just do all
Just gangster.
and just do it and get it done because I need that.
Yes, when I worked at a health center, so the health center I used to work at, we charged thousands of dollars. So if you wanted to be there for 30 days, I think it was like $15,000. If you wanted to be there for 10 days, it was like $3,000. And the premier thing that you had every day was a recipe called Energy Soup. And I have a version of that's going to be in my recipe book that's coming out this month. And it's, like you said, it's gangster. It's just all greens, sprouted beans, and avocados. Nothing sweet. Nothing sweet. So, and this is the thing that's somewhat disturbing to me. Like, people are trying to move into this health realm, right? And people get stuck on, doing the same thing every day. Like I was saying, the spinach smoothies, or they'll get stuck on Smoothie King smoothies, right? Or they'll be even going to McDonald's getting smoothies. It's like, okay, we got to really know what we're putting in our body.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, not just because it's blended up, it doesn't mean that it's going to be good for you, right? And you also have to look at, the intention of the organization. If the intention of the organization is to make money, then they're going to use the cheapest ingredients, the high fructose corn syrup,
exactly.
the craziness.
Where people got to understand, people got to make money, and they know that vegan or plant-based lifestyle is like the hottest thing out right now. So they trying to find a way to capitalize it on that. So you got people like us who might want to get a smoothie or something like that. If we on the go, we got to get something to eat right quick. Everybody wants to offer a smoothie now, but I'm not going to just go to McDonald's get a smoothie because I know majority of that is sugar.
Yes. And unfortunately, a lot of times when we go to places that are health food places, and I don't want to say their names because some of them I really like them, but they'll have an all-fruit smoothie. And so let's go back to the diabetes thing. So your pancreas is in charge of stabilizing your glucose level, your blood sugar levels, and also providing enzymes. So enzymes, food enzymes that come out and help break down your food, right? But that's why I love raw food, because raw food has, like, celery has celery enzymes, tomatoes have tomato enzymes. So as long as you're eating these things raw, you're getting a good dose of enzymes that's going to help to break this food down. When you cook food over 115 degrees, which, by the way, when you light a fire on your stove, it's automatic 200 degrees. There's nothing lower. So when you cook something, you're going to be cooking the enzymes out of it. And so that's one of the reasons why it's hard to digest cooked food, because there's no enzymes. Whereas raw food, as long as you're chewing and you're not drinking a lot of water with it, you're going to have a lot of bowel movements. It's going to clean you out.
Exactly. And for you Southern folks who love greens, like I do, we tend to overcook our greens.
Oh my gosh.
So you might as well just drink the pot liquor.
Right.
They actually eat the greens because all the nutrients is out the greens because you all cook them for like 3 hours.
That's why the pot liquor tastes good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's full of the minerals.
Exactly.
Because that little thin thing that you done boiled for 12 hours, that's a wrap.
Exactly.
That's nothing.
It's like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you hear them say, I want, you know, some steamed broccoli, but I want it soft. I don't want it crunchy. You want them crunchy. You don't want it soft. You know, 'cause by the time you gonna steam out all the nutrients. And so it's like, I think for us, we gotta really just change our mindset and our palate on how we, you know.
What about just shopping though? So one of the things I do is there's a woman in my community. Her name is Yinka, and she goes around to all these local urban farmers, and some of them not so local, and some of them near Macon, but most of them are black farmers. And she collects their food, and I buy a box from her. So this is CSA, Community Supported Agriculture.
Okay.
So people are like, oh, it's so hard, you know, and it's so expensive. Well, her big box is $55, and her little box is $35.
Okay.
It's not a lot of money, and
Right.
the whole box is you know, organic or as close to it. A lot of things too, we look at organic. Organic is a stamp. But if somebody has been farming natural practices for years, they may not have an organic stamp, but it's still clean food.
Exactly.
And that's what I've been getting because I had to change my mindset. I used to go to Publix and Kroger's, and it's like, if it's not perfect and shiny and bright, you know, I didn't want it. Well, you know, that food is radiated. Like they put radiation on the food to make it look that way. And it's totally dead. That's why bugs won't eat it.
Right.
Bugs
Because-
are like,
Yup.
So you got to be a little bit more flexible. When you see that bag of organic apples, yeah, you might see a little brown spot here or there, right? Especially if it's February and apples are harvested in September.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Yeah, they're going to be, because they're alive. So they're going to be slightly dying by this point.
Right.
But we have these expectations that food is supposed to look perfect. It's like, ooh, that's got a hole in it.
Right.
Yeah, a bug ate it.
But then,
Bud was smart.
that goes back to you understanding too. If we open up our palate and learn to eat foods that are good for us, that's in season,
Right.
then you won't have to worry about that
Correct.
because maybe, like you said, it's February and apples might be better in season back in September. But what's good and what's in season right now? What fruits we need to eat right now that's in season that we could eat that's going to also nourish us at the same time.
Right. Pumpkin, squash. Oh, I don't eat that.
Yeah.
Well, we got to learn.
Yeah, learn.
And it's a lot of urban farmers struggling. Like, they left the corporate world. They want to, you know, they bought land, but we're not buying their food. So
Right.
we got to. And why do we don't buy? Oh, I don't eat that. I don't eat, what's a shallot? I don't eat squash.
Right.
Hey, come on. We got to wake up.
Right.
Right? If we want to live, if we want to have a high quality of life, we got to be open. Because what we know, the Denny's, the McDonald's, the White Castles, that ain't doing it. Like, we can look at our demographics and our statistics and our, you know, all that, our mortality rate, our infant mortality rate, that's not working.
It's not.
So it's going to be something different.
Right.
So we got to open our mind to
Mindset.
that.
And when I was speaking to this pastor, and I was like, you know, African Americans are the most overweight and obese race there is, but we're also the most religious race there is, which is a disconnect. You know, and you know, we have to be able to connect that, to understand that we gotta take care of our body temple, because the Spirit of God lives in all of us.
Right.
So why would you want him or her to live in this trash bin that we put into our body?
Right, with the 85 pounds of
Exactly.
weight sitting on the
85
front.
pounds of weight, you know. So, you know, if we believe in that, you know, you should want to do our body better than what we do.
Yeah, well, that's why I do this work, because I really do believe my belief system may be a little bit different than most, but I believe that every single person is basically like a direct child of God with the
I do too.
ability to create.
I do too.
So I believe everybody came here to create great things. Just like
Exactly.
Jesus said, you could do this and more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
don't get it twisted. Don't just worship me.
Right.
Step up.
Because
right?
he's in you, so then you are the creator. So the
Exactly.
Spirit is in you, and so you and him are the co-creators of what you're going to do.
Exactly. So that's just like when you turn 16, you get one car.
Right.
How you gonna treat that car?
Like,
You're gonna
like,
take the
exactly like
you
the
gonna
pride
change your
gold.
oil, you
Exactly.
gonna clean it right, you gonna put in good gas.
Right.
Because you only get one. And that's the same thing for our body.
Mm-hmm.
We only get one. Now, you can put
Exactly.
Botox in it and craziness if you want to, but you only get one body
Mm-hmm.
to do your work that you came here to do,
Mm-hmm.
with God flowing through you.
Exactly.
So if you're distracted with chronic pain, medications, then you got the side effects of the medication, then you take another medication for the side effect of that medication, right? How you focusing on God's work?
Right.
You're not.
And well, I would say somebody like Jack. Well, I recommend. I respect what he's doing because he has kids. He has kids, and you got a grandchild. So he's going to be. He's creating a legacy.
Right.
And the legacy not of what he's doing with the station, but also the legacy of good health, because kids are going to imitate their parents. So if they see Jack creating this lifestyle of healthy living, 9 times out of 10 they're going to try to follow that.
Yeah.
Even if they don't do it right away, he's already planting the seed to live a healthy lifestyle. And I always use my father because he's been doing this whole holistic life way before it got popular. Mm-hmm. And so I always tell everybody.
We brought it here.
Exactly. And so it's so funny. I used to always suffer from headaches. And I used to hate telling him I had a headache because I couldn't pop a pill. He like, we're going to take you some peppermint tea. So I had drank peppermint tea. And at that time, I hated it. But now, I don't really get them as I used to. But when I do get one, I get peppermint tea. Mm-hmm. And it instantly knocks it out.
Yeah.
And so now I understand it. I appreciate it. But so, at 70, 77, and you're not on any kind of medications.
Praise.
And he got the energy of a young guy. Mm-hmm. It just shows you, okay, so my brother eats healthy. I'm healthy. But it took me a minute because I was the typical person. I love food.
Yes.
But I already knew, I was already struggling that this is what I supposed to be doing, but I had that hand in that food, and that food was like, okay, you're going to win right now. But once I gained too much weight and having back issues, all kind of stuff, I said, okay, now I'm going to do better. And that's when I started to see the food do wonders, all this kind of stuff, and never had blood pressure problems, never had cholesterol problems. I said something to it.
Yes. Yes, but what you said is so true, Kevin, because most of us have to come to a health crisis. I had to come to a health crisis.
Right.
And I realized, like, my lifelong digestive problems, it was all stemming from systemic candida. Mm-hmm. So most people think candida, like a candida affecting like a yeast infection. Mm-hmm. No, but yeast can be throughout your whole body.
Exactly.
Many of us walk around putting lotion on every 5 minutes. That's not ash. That's candida busting through your skin. Mm-hmm. And how do I know? Because I thought I had dry skin. But when I clean up my candida, I don't even have to use lotion.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like you said before earlier, we all have parasites. So you really, when you cleanse, and you really need to analyze your feces when you go to the bathroom. Because sometimes you might actually see a long worm coming out. And you got to also do a real extensive cleanse. So you try to get that mucoid plaque out your bioskin. Because one of my buddies, he's a vegan chef, and he did a cleanse to really do clean out the mucoid plaque.
Right.
And 2 days into it, he took a picture of what came out of him. It looked like rubber. It was black. It was like rubber. And in 2 days, now he was already in good shape. He dropped 9 pounds in 48 hours.
Yes.
Because he had released that waste.
Yes. And and I'm glad you said that, because that biofilm, that mucoid plaque, it keeps parasites and mold and fungus in place. Mm-hmm. And it kind of they're kind of impervious. But the thing about it is they love the acidic foods. Mm-hmm. They love the flours, the sugars. They love alcohol. Yep. And so, and again, like we were saying earlier, they eat at night. They're nocturnal. So you especially know if you start getting those hints at night that's them. But they're protected. It's only until we start to alkaline the body, what we're eating and what we're drinking, and clean up the body, that the good thing about it is they have a short shelf life. So they don't get fed for 2-3 days, they falling out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like you said, a short cleanse will start the process, and the longer you do it, the deeper and deeper that you will cleanse. And I've had clients say, we just finished a 5-day cleanse. Most everybody on the cleanse lost 5 pounds in 5 days. But it's waste.
That's it.
It's waste.
And one of the girls, one of the ladies that did mine, she did 7 days and she lost 10. And she said I could tell the difference. And she said the lower part of her stomach got smaller. I said, because that was all waste.
Right.
And she said, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, that's all waste. I said, because you didn't go to the bathroom like you're supposed to anyway. And so, but your reality, like one of my other cousins, she was only going to the bathroom like maybe once or twice a week. So after she did the 7 days, she at least going once a day, which was better than once or twice a week. But I said, you got to do another one because you're still not where you're supposed to be.
And so part of my philosophy is that you have to recondition the colon. So I'm really big on colonics, and I'm really big on enemas. Enemas more than even colonics, because colonics is like one big push, and that's great, but that's like getting a shower once a year.
Right.
No, you got to do it like a couple times a week.
Yep.
And so the enemas will actually retrain that peristalsis, that pumping action we were talking about earlier, and retrain your colon, because it becomes it atrophies from lack of use.
I'm glad you said that, because those who invest in the 30-day or even the 14-day, I introduced that to them. And I said, you got to go on the Amazon or whoever and get you an enema bag, and you're going to do an enema twice a week during this time, because you got, like you say, condition it to doing all that.
It's like doing bicep curls for your colon.
Exactly. So we almost, see, I told you 2 hours is not going to go by fast.
And I still want to say something.
Go ahead.
So I wanted to talk about, I got off track with the sugar. And so to me, it's so important to talk about sugar diabetes. Diabetes is like, they changed the name of juvenile diabetes because so many juveniles have it. And so they changed it just to say, just let's name it type 2, like everybody type 2. So it's not even juvenile anymore, because it's like, it's over, like our kids just have it. It's not like an anomaly, it's like a standard. And it's because they come home and they eat the Doritos and they drink the sugary drinks and they eat the sandwiches on bread with peanut butter with sugar in it and jelly with sugar in it. And then they go to McDonald's when the parents go home, and it's like all this sugar, right? And so we're overtaxing the pancreas. And the pancreas is in charge of enzymes, the digestive enzymes we talked about, and also the glucose, like keeping your glucose level, your sugar level regulated. So this little organ is like doing it, right? But we're constantly overtaxing it. And so what happens, like ancient man and ancient women, if you didn't have like a variety of foods, like I was saying how we were foragers and we would find things, if you're just eating the same thing, it would put your body in storage mode, because it's like, wow, you got to be starving if you're only eating sugar, right? And so that's when, we get the little fat pads and the back fat and all that from raising the glucose level. It puts your body in storage mode. So constantly eating like that is telling your ancient DNA that, you don't have a variety of food. You don't have any greens. It's not that you don't have any greens, it's that you're not eating greens. And so then it throws your pancreas out of whack, so you get your insulin resistance. So the insulin will come and lower the sugar, but now it's like it doesn't work anymore. It's like, forget it. We're not even going to try. And so really introduce, like you were saying, what do I think is the basic foods? Greens. Getting into greens. And it's so funny. I have people who can't even watch me make a smoothie. They get sick. They're like, oh, greens. But that reminds me, we're going to have another cleanse on February 22nd.
Okay.
So, and it's going to be green, because greens are our food, and greens and going raw is the thing that will stabilize your blood sugar, because it gives you a chance to heal your pancreas.
Okay.
And so one of the vegetables, root vegetables, that heals the pancreas is a sweet potato. But you got to do it raw, Because you know if you put it in the oven, it just explodes with syrup.
It
right?
does. It does.
But if it's raw in a smoothie, shredded, sliced, diced, it's going to start to go to work on that pancreas. How it does it, I don't know. How God does it, I don't know.
Right.
But it works. So if someone is really serious about getting their sugar together, raw food, focusing on raw sweet potatoes. I promise you, if a person is strict and serious, it will build their capacity back to have balanced glucose levels.
Okay.
Question. What effect do you think sugar has on blood pressure, if any?
Well, so sugar, just like we were saying, salt, highly refined, is a poison, right? And so anytime the body is poisoned or identifies something that's not going to work with it, it's going to tighten up. And that's going to cause that high blood pressure. So I think it's not as striking as when people eat like a candy bar, their blood pressure doesn't rise. But we know when people have a margarita, their blood pressure is going to rise. And I just think the sugar is slower. But I think over time, the body will become more and more protective, and it throws all the biometrics out.
And then, no, I think that's the only thing I would say about what the health that I wish they would talk more about was sugar, because sugar is like the devil. It's like you know they did that study where you had mice that were addicted to heroin, and they had a chance to choose between heroin or being crack or sugar, and they went to the sugar. Because that's very addictive. And, like my cousin who passed away recently, she had cancer. When she first got diagnosed, I told her, I said, you got to go strict vegan and no more alcohol, anything like that. And she did it. Went to remission, everything like that. The doctor was like, what happened? And she was like, my diet. But she didn't make that part of her lifestyle. Because like I told her, sugar, cancer cells feed off of sugar.
They do. That's how they find cancer cells. Really? They give them sugar.
Give them
they
sugar.
put sugar in radiated water or radiated liquid, and they pump it in the body. And the cancer cells turn on. They whatever color in that liquid, they pop out, and they have the scan, and they say, oh, you got some spots here.
Meaning the cancer sought out the sugar when you put in the... Okay. So, of course, on a normal basis, cancer is looking for the sugar to...
Yes.
Yep.
Cancer cells, candida, yeast, mold. There's an Italian doctor you're probably familiar with. He lost his license, but he was pumping baking soda water into his clients because he realized that high alkaline environment was killing cancer cells. Now, he lost his license, but he brought 400 people back from hospice. Like, people threw these people away, said, y'all dying, we don't need y'all. Y'all ain't gonna make it. And he took them back and then put baking soda in them. And I'm not promoting, catheterizing people's organs with baking soda water, but I'm just saying he used the principle of alkalizing the body and starving out the cancer by removing the sugar and just having that high alkaline. See, sugar is acidic, and that acidic environment is going to turn the cancer on. And if you have the epigenetics for cancer genes, it's going to turn the cancer genes on.
So, why do you think they took his license?
Well, this was in Italy, but this is all over the world, because how you going? Cancer is $1 trillion industry.
There you go.
Right? You have cancer, it's gonna cost you $300,000, $1 million, whatever. Yeah. And this is a 45-cent box of baking soda.
Right.
That don't make sense.
Even if you get food grade baking soda from 7 Under, it's only $1.50.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to let them know. I mean. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an industry. So that those pink, and I know I may be stepping on somebody's toes with those pink flag ribbons and all that stuff. It's an industry. That money isn't going to heal cancer. We know how to heal cancer. Dr. Gerson healed cancer back in the 1920s.
Yeah. Bring me back to the movie What the Hell.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah. Info in there. And I researched it after the movie too, but
a friend of mine, she's a holistic doctor, and her dad had cancer, and he was like, overweight. He was on like 8 medications, and he went strict vegan. He started juicing, all that kind of stuff. He's off all his medication. He reversed the cancer, all that kind of stuff. And when her mom ended up getting cancer, she refused to do like the chemotherapy, all that kind of stuff. The hospital tried to sue her.
Mm-hmm. She wouldn't do the chemo stuff?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. On what basis?
Exactly.
Yeah, they will take your children away. Let's say your child got cancer.
And you won't let them treat their way?
Yeah, I worked with people who came to the healing center where I worked who had moved to Canada. Because DFACS were the equivalent of DFACS. They weren't from Georgia, was trying to take their kids. So they weren't even supposed to be in the United States. They say that it's child abuse if you don't make your kid do chemotherapy. But chemotherapy is 97% fail. 97% fail.
For real?
Yes.
What numbers is that?
Most people die from chemo, not from cancer, from the treatment.
Chemo worked for Mom, I thought. I don't know what happened, but she did chemo and she cancer free.
And I know a lot of people who've done traditional, and I've known people who've gone alternative. And my thing is that either path you take, you got to build the body with food.
We
medicine.
still find issues from the chemo.
Exactly. Right. You got to build your body.
2 years.
Because I never tell people what not to do in terms of their own care. That's their choice. But at the end of the day, you still got to build up your body for healthy cells because the chemo's not going to give you healthy cells.
Right.
Kill cells.
So we got 10 minutes left. I'm gonna give you a chance to wherever you've been doing an amazing job, but whatever's on your spirit at this moment, I want you to talk to the audience and tell them what you want to tell them.
Okay. So I do think that somehow we got off track, right? So especially, African Americans, we came here against our will, but it's amazing how much knowledge we brought around plants, right? George Washington Carver, the way we farm today is based on his philosophy and the way he actually talked to plants, found out about the mysteries of farming and what it takes to really do crops and do crops right. And he was a big proponent of crop rotation and feeding your soil and building your soil. And so, I never want, especially our people, to forget that, about eating herbs and growing food. That's us. Like, we're masters of that. And somehow we've lost our way. That we've gotten caught on processed foods and convenience foods, and we forgot who we are, but we are the commanders of that. So it's just like me. I was junk food junkie, fast food person, but as soon as I had my health crisis in 2010. It was like just terrible digestive problems, and I told you I realized that it was systemic candida. So I did a raw food cleanse for 10 days, and like you said, the biofilms, the mucus fell out of me. It was so frightening. Parasites fell out of me that I could actually identify in the bowl. Just little things moved around. And then, it started to clear up my thinking. So it spurred me on to do more research, and I started working at a farm. So I worked at Truly Living Well.
Okay.
For about a year. So I work with Rashid and another sister that I work with, Andrea, and it changed my whole mindset. So I know I'm from Detroit. I used to work at the Corned Beef King. I used to eat corned beef every day.
Me too.
And I worked at McDonald's. I used to eat McDonald's every day. So I'm saying I'm not like, my mother thinks I'm crazy.
Right.
My dad, he still don't understand what I'm doing, right? So this was not my rearing. This is something that I learned actually in my 40s, right?
Yeah.
I thought I was a vegetarian all these years, but I realized, you don't eat vegetables. You're not a vegetarian. You're a macaroni and cheese-tarian.
Right. Exactly.
I didn't eat meat for like 20 years, but I wasn't really eating nutritious food either. Right. Because you cannot eat meat and still eat just junk, pasta, bread, and things like that.
That's the difference, and that's what I need to learn. So, I'm trying my best with this thing, and I go to certain restaurants. I know they focus on that stuff, but it's hard. Yes, especially you're around the house, and you like, so you gotta have something in there just for.
Yeah, and just being real, I'm on the journey too. You get on the path, you get off the path. Well, and now I say, this thing is my whole path, because it keeps me authentic to know, yes, let me figure out how to make some cauliflower. It tastes like wings because we miss
Right.
wings.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you have wings for 20 years and you stop at a dime, you need something. You have that void.
Right.
And so that's my commitment, is to make raw and vegan food that tastes like something, to create recipes. But the point is, it's the spices that's communicating to our brain. And so if we could take that same love and intention and spices and put it on raw food and vegan food, then we can transition. We can bridge the gap, and we can let all this processed food go, because the processed food is doing nothing but killing us.
Right.
It's doing nothing but killing us, and we're strong. Like, we came over here over the Atlantic, and so the ones that survived, we're the strongest of the strong, right? And so there's no reason why we should be dying in the rates we are. There's
Right.
really a lot of lifestyle diseases, and we can shift our lifestyle.
Exactly.
And I understand, because I wasn't all eating greens and all this stuff, but now I know. It's just like, Jack, when you said you tried it for 3 days, you saw the difference, and you said when you did it, you saw the difference. So that's what Dante was saying. Try it. Because my thing is, the body is divine. The body came from God. I'm not saying don't eat those chitlins if that's where you are. I'm just saying put some raw kale next to
it.
Right. And let your body decide. After a while, you won't eat the meat. I had a woman, and I put her on a cleanse, and it was a 5-day cleanse. She still hasn't eaten meat. She's stricter than I am. It's like, because something inside of her shifted. So, like, people, it's not about willpower and forcing yourself. Just keep exposing yourself.
Exactly.
And those genes of intelligence and discernment will wake up and turn on all on their own.
Ain't nothing better than having you believe it and then you seeing it for yourself and you doing it for yourself. I suggest anybody just try it before they knock it.
Yep.
Oh, you can't do vegan. You shouldn't go vegan or vegetarian or whatever. You haven't tried it, so you
Right.
don't know.
Right.
Try it and see if it. I can speak on it because I tried it, and I can tell if it didn't work or did work for me.
Right.
So what you're saying, if they just try it.
Exactly.
And I mean, and I have people come to me, like I was at a health fair this weekend, and 2 people came to me and said, my doctor said I can't have vegetables. Really? And we just gonna go for that?
Exactly.
We just gonna go for that. Doctors die at an average age of 59 years old.
Exactly.
The average age is that. Really?
And we gonna go with what they say? Really?
Really? You got
No,
Right.
no.
They'll say, you know, they say, well, they'll say, well, I'm on blood thinners, so I can't have greens, I can't have this, I can't have that. What you mean? What do you mean? So I said, they want you to be like that, but if you eat those things, what is it going to really do to you?
Right. So you eat the greens
gonna make you not
and
need
let
them in their
them,
pharmaceuticals.
right, let the greens thin your blood. Then
Exactly.
You don't need the medicine.
If
But
you
see, that's the problem.
exactly, if you take cayenne pepper every day, the cayenne pepper is going to help thin your blood. You know, so and plus some of my smoothies I tell people to take, you're going to put some cayenne pepper in your blood, so it's going to help thin your blood out, so that's not going to be an issue.
Right.
But, you know, the doctors put them on these blood thinners, all this kind of stuff, and they put this fear in, I can't eat this, I can't eat that because I'm
my
blood
grandparents were
thinners.
the same way. My grandparents died on so many different medications, but my grandmother had 6 kids at home, no anesthesia, nothing, right? And they were eating weeds. They were eating chickweed and dandelion and clovers, just out the. And then something happened. They got Medicaid, and they like the white coat is everything.
Exactly.
But they made it that far. They made it into their mid-70s. Then all of a sudden, now they got to get on all this medication. No.
Yeah.
No, we know what to do. We just have submitted our minds. We have allowed ourselves to be told that we don't know what to do, but we do know what to do. We know what doesn't work, right? So we know it's not that.
Exactly.
So let's give this a try. Let's give this a try. So please look for me, Carla at rocket.com, CARLA at RAWXIT.com. You could text me at 770-413-9046, 770-413-9046, and just visit my website. Plenty of information.
When did your cookbook come out again?
My cookbook comes out this month, so I'm going out of town to speak, and I promise myself, because I keep going back and forth, you know, we can always add more,
Right.
But these are 21 basic recipes that anybody can master and learn raw. So a lot of times people come out with recipe books with hundreds of recipes, and then people on average use about 2 or 3. This recipe book is for you to use every single recipe. You take one and master it for 21 weeks. So you take a recipe a week and you master it.
Okay.
And then you have transitioned into a plant-based existence because you're not taking out. Remember, I'm not going to tell you don't eat those wings. I'm just saying add this.
Right.
And let your body decide. And I promise you, your body will decide the right thing every time. Now, I'm not saying you won't get weak, but that's usually your parasite speaking.
Exactly. I thank you so much for being on the show. A wealth of knowledge. I know Jack loved you. For those who are into, thank you. Thank you, Dante, for your testimonial as well. For those who are interested in my 7-day, 14-day, or 30-day detox, inbox me at Kevin Thornton, or also the Wellness Architect on IG, or you could email me at kevint211@hotmail.com and put detox in this subject. Now that you heard another expert, we had 2 good testimonials. There's no reason for you not to try it, and at least see how you can make the best version of yourself in 2018. So once again, contact either me or Carla so we can help coach you. Every great athlete, every great person has a coach.
That's right.
Oprah
have coaches.
We have coaches. Oprah has 4. So if somebody
Yes.
as big as her got 4 coaches, you could afford to have 1. So reach out to either one of us. Let us help guide you in your nutritional journey. With that being said, it's been the Wellness Architect Show, and we are out. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuning into the very best of George Shirley Jazzy. Fizzle, fizzle, fizzle. And this is In-State Radio, man. Tune in, baby. Oh, boy.